And we are live. I know this is a little bit later. I apologize. I was originally was planning to do six, but I had to take my wife to the airport. We originally planned to be out where I would be back in time, but fortunately, my wife ran an hour behind, so it set things back. But at the end of the day, I'm happy she just got safe. She got to her airplane. She's going off for a business trip. So wait for her safe travels and can't wait to see her come back later next week. Hopefully I'm sounding okay, but so again, apologize for the little bit of delay for this week's live stream, but we're still going to continue carry on. Making an effort to make sure to do this on a weekly thing. So if you guys are here, thank you guys for joining me. As the thumbnail talks about, we're going to talk about the situation that happened with Brandon Washington and sort of uh, see how this could be a teachable lesson for all of us, for filmmakers, in terms of safety and security. We'll get more into that shortly. An interesting conversation actually came about me and some of my colleagues over the phone that I thought would be an interesting topic, since it's a topic that I get asked quite a bit, which is if you're in pursuit of trying to change or downsize or move into a direction of a camera, you've got an older but very popular camera like the Sony FX3, or you got something new and sexy improved like the Pixis 12K. Um, what are the reasons to go with different options? One of the things that I get a lot is basically, should I go with this new option? Should I go with if I'm in this ecosystem, or should I go with this camera that's a little bit older, even though there's a potentially for Macy like a Mark II? So I'm gonna go all into that, and sort of why I'm bringing it up is because of the conversation me and my colleagues had, and it brought up an interesting light. So we're gonna talk about that. Also, for all you guys in the Lumix gang, in the Lumix group, we're going to talk about some the announcements. Even though there wasn't really like anything major from Lumix, I do think that what they did announce is somewhat of note, and that's something that we should be discussing. And also, just briefly go over Apple's M5 and sort of what it can mean in terms of editing or sort of workflows for us as filmmakers. So that's the outline for today. Stu, hey man, thanks for joining, and I appreciate you being here, man. Um, and again, for everybody else here in the chat, thank you guys, and thank you guys that are watching the stream. Thank you so much. So I know it's late, so I won't hold you up too much. So um, I want to just go ahead and kick off with. First off, I want to just say, my heart, when I saw Brandon Washington's post, my heart sank, because um, it's one of the, well, it's not the worst fear, because obviously Brandon himself is fine. He's fine physically. He's fine. Everybody, there's, however, it's still a bit emotionally painful. And for those of you that may not know, Brandon Washington made a post, I believe it was like a day or so ago, where he talked about how his car got broken into, and a good chunk of his gear, including his Red V Raptor, was stolen. And yeah, that was really rough. I reached out to him, just let him know that I hear about it, and he told me that he's been getting a lot of support from the community, which is great. So for all you guys um, uh, that have been watching Brandon and Jarrell over at the Creative Fam channel, the dude's one of the nicest people I've met. So it's really sucks that something like this has happened. But I told him, I wish him well. It's like, and again, if there's any support that I could do, I reached out to him, but I'm not here to talk about that. I think it's something to me that I've that's always been sort of a fear of mine. It's like, especially if you're going into a shoot into an area that you're not really familiar with. because I recently had I was on a set, and I'm sure all of us have been in that situation where we've been on a shooting location that was a little bit sketchy, and that was sort of a recently where I was being a second camera person for a campaign, a video that's in a neighborhood that is a bit sketchy to say the least in Philadelphia, and um, the way it was designed, it's like there really wasn't. We had to shoot in a location that we had to either carry all of our gear um, to this location, which would have been pain and would time consuming, or we had to like station the gear like not too far away, and hopefully enough to ticket it. Now, thank goodness in this situation, one, we had it in this parking lot, so it was kind of getting up, but still, some of it was a bit exposed. I've and but luckily nothing was taken. So on our hand, we're happy about that. But it does put in the light that it's like, you know what, we really should talk about like the security and safety of our gear and sort of what measurements that we have. Because ever since I was in like film school, that was one of the number one things. The first things they talked about was like, make sure you lock and store your equipment hidden safely and securely. It's like, especially given that time that when during film school we were checking out the school's equipment. So the fear of mine was always like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose this equipment and then I'm going to have to pay for it. So that was something that always stuck in my mind, which is why I was like during that shoot, I was like dead set. Like if I can't be right near my gear, I'm storing it away secret in a secure place in my car. Obviously, again, I know Brandon's car was broken into, but um, and let me also say this: I'm not trying to go off on some things like, oh, it's Brandon's fault. No, I'm just thinking like, what are some things that we can do as filmmakers, and something that we can share with each other, some practices that we can do. And so this for you guys in the chat. If you guys definitely, you guys in the chat, leave like some practices. If you got some tips and practices that I don't mention, leave them in chats, because at the end of the day, we're all supposed to, hopefully we can be filmmakers that can be better and make sure we can have our gears long enough. I know for me, I always make sure, like everybody can't necessarily choose a car, but you do get some freedom. I always make sure that I have a trunk that basically there's no way to visibly see what's in my car. Or if I have something like an SUV, typically I always like I have I had a Subaru Forester. So my SUV had actually like a little cover that you could pull over in terms of the trunk space. So I was always making sure that I had that there so I could pull over, so nobody could ever see. If something had to stay in my vehicle, I made sure it was fully covered, and so that it didn't draw unwanted attention. The other thing is that I always try for is like, especially if it's one of my shoots that I'm in charge of and that I'm in control of, is that I at least have somebody that I know well. Usually it's my business partner, Geraldine. Somebody that I know well that will stand by if I'm basically at the end of either at the end of the day loading gear up or sending a guy. I always make sure I have somebody that I trust nearby my vehicle to stand by and just basically divert eyes away or attempts away. So that's something that those are the few things in terms of with cars. Otherwise, I don't keep anything on my car. The only things that I may keep in my car is like, if I'm coming back late from like a wedding, I may keep a tripod and maybe the cart, because if those get stolen, you know what? It's not that big of a loss. It's gonna suck, but it's not as hit of a pocket if I lost my lenses or my camera gears. So anytime I'm done, I don't care how tired or how exhausted I am, I make sure the camera, the media cards that I have, so I can make sure they're there, and those lenses, all of those are the baggages and gears and cases that hold those. I make sure I bring them immediately into the house after I'm done, even at my own house. So I'm always making sure that I don't take nothing that is like high value stays in my car. So those are just some things in terms of like vehicles. But let's actually talk about some things. Let's see what the chat is saying. Oh, we got busyness. Alrighty. Hey Kevin, thanks man. Thanks for joining. Jess, thanks for. Uh, so she says definitely looking to selling my old gear. I love this cam, but I know there won't be any new updates. God forbid if my sensor fails, I'd be screwed. Yeah, yeah. No. So we'll talk about again. That's definitely something in the next section that I'll talk to where we talk about upgrading and sort of moving on to the next thing. It's definitely it's an interesting conversation. It's something that I know I get asked about quite a bit. Uh, I know so many people who have fallen victims to car theft. I wonder if insurance covers it. So, if so that's a great question. Also, another I think poignant point. I think most of us who are professional fields have this covered, but if for some reason yet you don't, I can't stress enough the importance of having insurance. Not just in terms of protecting your gear, but in terms of just a value proposition to your clients. Because I know some people say, "How can I get these bigger clients?" I'll be honest with you right now, especially if you're dealing with ad agencies, if you're dealing with like a major institution, like maybe like a higher education, like a college or something, or it. But like any major institution, major organizations, major companies, they won't they won't even consider you if you don't have um, uh, insurance coverage for your company. So like literally, they won't even consider you. At least some of the ones, the big clients that we've worked with, like the insurance is basically like, especially drones. Like contracting companies won't even touch you if you don't have insurance. So just by that alone, you should have insurance. But also, yeah, make sure you have the right insurance. Because what Jess is basically asking here is perfect. It's like, yes, in terms of theft, um, insurances do cover it, but it all depends on the insurance plan that you have. So we make sure we have coverage for theft. We also have coverage for damage, and we have coverage for lost items. Not for like small little things that can be bought for like under $100 or something like that off Amazon. Not for like that, but major things like obviously our cameras and things like that. We make sure we have insurance coverage. Even consider workman's. I would even consider workman's comp because just again in terms of being a value to clients. There's some clients that won't talk to you unless you have workman's comp, because they don't want to pay for anything that may happen on a set. So, but yeah, insurance should cover it. Again, I don't know Brandon's situation regarding insurance, but I know Brandon has insurance. I know that he's talked about insurance. So maybe he'll talk about it tomorrow. So that's possibility. So, but yes, if you got again, I'll say it again. If you don't have insurance, this is this may be a good example of definitely considering of getting insurance. Hey Derek, how's it going? So Derek says air trackers for lenses, cameras, and linings and lots. Yes, yes. I can't believe I didn't bring this up. Air tags. Air tags are. In fact, I would even like. I look at cages that like have designed places for air tags. I would get those just to have those and have those read. But even if you don't actually have them on the camera, if you have say the bag that your camera is in, put the air tags in. Like I have air tags in every single one of my bags. That so when I travel, I know exactly where they are. I actually even there was a story of someone on YouTube that got their camera stolen, but he used the air tags to find and hunt down the person that took it, and he found him, and he got his camera back. So, which is great. So yes, AirTags. AirTags is a great thing that you should. Honestly, I think just in general for your gear, especially if you travel long distance, you should definitely consider AirTags. But so Derek, great point with that. Oh, carry bear spray and never ever leave your gear in the car. Uh, Bear spray. Okay. Um, I'd love to know more about that because I've never heard about bear spray. So Stu, if you haven't commented already in the chat, so elaborate a little more about that. I would love to hear more. In terms of never ever leaving your gear in the car, yes, I would say do the best. But I know how things work. I know how we work. Saying never ever is challenging. So I had definitely have sympathy because sometimes you're in a situation where you got to make a decision. You got to the the client or the talent is some maybe running behind, and you got to be ready to move quickly, and you got to move stuff really quickly. So at the end of the day, we are still responsible for our own gear. So I understand never ever leave your car, but find the best means you can to either again not leave in the car or B find ways to cover it up so it doesn't draw unwanted attention. So those are things that I would say. But so while I think that's something we should ideally pursue, I understand that it's not necessarily achievable for every single situation. So practice due diligence. I had a friend who was a DJ, got robbed of all their equipment. Yeah. Oh man, that's. I had to hear that, man. Hopefully, I hope that your friend got insurance, or I hope your friend was able to make some means of recovering. And hopefully, nothing was harmed by your friend. And that's the first thing I always say. Is the person, as long as the person's all right, okay, you live to fight another day, and I think that's the most important thing. So, but yeah, sorry to hear that, man, and hopefully your friend's doing well. Derek says, we were broken into back in Vegas 6, 7 years ago. Had just moved into a new office, busted steel back door, and lifted the door. Took $100,000 in gear back then. Took us 1 to 2 weeks to get back up and running. Yeah, I, I, man, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I I would love to hear sort of like if you guys made any precautions or made any changes in terms of your office. Are you even still in Vegas? I'll be honest. Now I got broke. My car got broken into years ago as well. Now none of my gear was actually taken. I don't think I had any gear in my car at that time. But there was just like some like miscellaneous stuff I got from like a pharmacy or a grocery store, and they just saw these things in the back, and they took a brick and broke my window and stole it. And it was just like stuff that you could go to the grocery store. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I understand desperate living, but man, that's just it sucks when you have to do it, especially then you have to fight with insurance. Insurance, yes, like Derek says, insurance. They suck, and you know they're going to be annoying because they're going to try to fight you tooth and nail on certain things, especially when it comes to the equipment. All I'm saying is, if you've been paying, if you've been paying every month and you've been holding up your end of a contract with insurance, then you fight them tooth and nail to say, hey, I've held up my end of the contract. It is you guys to hold up and try to cover me. Otherwise, what's the point of insurance? Fritz says, I've been thinking about buying the Amaran Verge Max for my home podcast setup. Have you tried it? No, I have not tried it. I will say it is a really, really cool design. It's like it reminds me of the 1x1s of the Pavel Slims, but I think it's a little bit more. slickly designed, if that makes any more sense, Fritz. So, but the answer is no. I haven't tried it. But uh, it is. I think it would. From what I can see, I think it would be a great sort of light in terms for podcasting. So, all right. So Derek responds. He says, "Oh man, did we ever? Uh, I, I'm not in Vegas anymore with that company, but we put in a giant steel security cage, double the cameras, steel reformers for doors. Yeah, look, yeah, yeah. It's a life lesson learned, but again, at the end of the day, you're still living, you're still breathing, so that's number one, which means you're alive and you can learn and learn from the situation and put yourself in better position to deal with if something was to be attempted like that. So, great story, Derek, and I appreciate that. So last one, and then before I'll wrap this up and move on. I was a documentary video shooter in Morocco in a dodgy neighborhood, and I lived to fight another day with a can of beer spray. Can the two offenders spent time coughing. Bear spray. Can of bear spray. The two offenders spent time coughing, and we left the area. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. Yes, you live to fight another day. That is a crazy story, Stu. Wow. I'm so glad you got out there safely, and you were able to think pro. That's that's again now that's crazy. Yes. So guys, make sure. I guess I'll wrap this up by saying make sure to take care of yourself and. Um, it's going to it sucks to lose gear, but at the point you still have your health, you still got your mind, you still got your body, you can still recover from it. Insurance, and then just take precautions of what you could do to let create better preventions to not have this happen again. So, uh, it's not legal to carry bear spray here in Berlin, Germany, but I still carry it. Hey, man, look, after that story, I don't knock you. I don't knock you, man. So I don't knock you. And again, I'm glad to hear it. But yeah, carry on. But yes, hopefully, again, I wish all the best for Brandon, and I hope he's able to, at the very either get a nice payout from insurance to help him get back up on his feet, or he's able to recover some of the stuff. So we shall see how that goes. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about upgrading or making the decision to look at the field, because I'm not gonna lie, this is something that I've been doing, and this was but I'm bringing up this now because this was a conversation that I recently had with two of my colleagues here. Um, the long story short is like one of my colleagues is looking at the work that he's doing now. He's been a lifelong Blackmagic shooter. He loves the image, kind of similar to my take, which is he absolutely loves the image that Blackmagic cameras produce. The Cinema Camera 6K, like me, is his favorite image that he's ever seen. And I say that because neither one of us has worked on an Ursa 12K or an Ursa City 17K, and I'm still waiting for the Pixels 12K. So until one of those arrives, the Cinema Camera 6K is my favorite image that I've ever seen, and it was for him. However, he recently just acquired an FX3, and he's starting to get more, he's starting to get a lot more jobs that are like campaigns. He's doing a lot of weddings. He's doing a lot of like quicker turnaround micro contents for his clients. And the client work that he's doing, image quality isn't number one priority. Like when I say that, I mean like ultimate perfect image quality is not really top priority. So he's asking. We were having a conversation of because he was asking like, should he go for like the FX6? Should he wait to see what Sony does in the future? Um, should he just basically he's considering like basically selling all of his Black Magic gear and going all in a Sony because that's sort the type of clients that he's working with sort of fits that model. Um, and both me and my other colleague, we brought our 2 cents in. Um, I and my in that situation, I was like, you. It's a bit more complicated because for some reason Sony has decided to increase the price. I know tariffs is the excuse, but the laws of depreciation still apply. There's no reason that a 4 or 5 year old camera should cost more than it actually costs at launch. And I've made this on my stream before. As much as I love my FX3, I would never buy a new FX3 because it doesn't make any sense to do so. And we were actually talking about like there's FX6s that are being sold used that are sold at the same price of the original launch price, which is crazy. Normally I would have told him like it's like should we wait for the Mark II? Normally I would have told him like because I'm like there's no side or nobody really knows what an FX3 Mark II would be or an FX6 Mark II. Normally I would say normally when somebody asks me about this it's like should I wait for the upgrade or should I go? I'm like you have a need right now. You can only work on the need that you have right now. No one can predict the future because no one knows what these cameras are going to be capable of. Are they going to be improved, like vastly improved in the cameras, or will they be better? Most likely, yes, but we don't know for sure or how much improved. Just kind of like MacBooks, which we'll talk about the M5. Actually, I'll tell you something because it's kind of like the M5 that was just announced. Even though we'll dive more deeper into it later. The M5 is like, is it better than the MacBook, the M4? Sure, but when you compare it to the M4 Max, like my computer, my MacBook M4 Max, MacBook Pro, it's not incrementally better. So even though maybe I should wait for the M5 Max. But then you're continually waiting, and you're not dealing with a problem that you have right now. Normally, I would just say I would be the one going, look. The FX6 is here. The FX6 is a proven, reliable camera. The FX6 has a history of branding. You're not going to not get work by having a dated version of the FX6 line. If the FX6 Mark II was to come out January of next year, there's still going to be jobs where you have an FX6 Mark I and everybody will be cool. In fact, I was on a major doc shoot years ago where the main camera was an F55, which is I don't even know how old an F55, a Sony F55 is, but it's a pretty old camera. You can get one of those like right now for like, I think like $2,500. Yeah, but that was the main camera that we used. And then the other one was an FX, I think the FX9 was the other one. And then the recent doc that I was G&Eing for, the main camera was an FX9, which is a 6-7 year old camera at this point. These cameras are still going to be used because they have a proven history. They have sensors that, look, people still love the content, whether if it's narrative or doc work. These cameras have a history, and people are going to use them for years. Even though the FX3 is like, I think 4 years old now. Even though the FX3 is 4 years old now, it's going to be. I guarantee you, it's still going to be around and being on major sets and being on sets, and people are going to use them for 4 more years. Is the technology going to be super advanced and people are going to move on? Sure, but given the fact that, let's be honest, we're in a recession. Like, whatever, below Joe, the if not the United States and Kofi kind of hit it, it's like, yeah, we're in a recession. Money's not circulating as much as people. People are not spending as much as people, and we're seeing it in budgets. Budgets are getting tighter. So normally I would say, hey, just upgrade to the FX6. But given the fact that Sony has decided to keep these prices so damn high, I'm just like, hey, wait to see what it comes out. If they release a Mark II, then buy a used FX6 because they'll flood the market and the price will eventually drop. So we said, look, just wait, because right now there's things are starting to slow down, so there's no reason to rush because we're getting ready to go into holiday season and everything's starting to slow down. There's no reason to. And so I guess ultimately what I'm trying to say here is that first things first, don't worry about something that may come down the line that you don't know about yet. Yeah, you hear rumors, you hear whispers. I obviously I cover some rumors, but I don't cover every single rumor. I only cover rumors that I feel have enough legitimacy, and I've heard from enough people around that it gives interest and things like that. So I don't cover rumors that much, even though I do. But at the end of the day, I don't make decisions based on rumors. I make decisions based on what is available, what do I have. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, if there's a camera that's out there that serves your needs and that can serve your needs and solve a problem for you now, go with that now. And if a Mark II, Mark III, or whatever next generation comes out, so what? It's not like that camera that you have is not going to get, is not going to stop working. Like, it takes several generations for, especially in something like the film world. It takes several generations before a camera outlasts its use case. So if you're current gen or not that far off current gen, you're fine. Don't rush. Don't have gas and fall into the FOMO. Like, chill. Number two, I always say the number two thing that I've been preaching this year especially is that don't feel the need to rush to get the new things. The new stuff is sexy. The new stuff. But unless you have a reason to get the new thing that financially makes sense, there's no need to rush. If what you have right now serves you well, I say do it now. I say keep what you have and save up a little more. So in case there's more slower periods, you can save up and you don't have to put yourself in more debt. Because for me, like, I've considered looking at like all the cameras I looked at, the C50, the Nikon ZR. I've looked at even the Lumix S1 II. And obviously I'm going to get the Pixis 12K because it is my dream camera. It's literally everything I've wanted in a camera. So I'm going to get the Pixis 12K. But outside of the Pixis 12K, it's because that's my dream camera. But outside of that camera, I'm looking at every other camera and I'm like, the amount of money that I paid for the FX3 and the amount of money that I paid for the cinema camera 6K, I've literally none of the cameras out right now just one of them would be more expensive than what I paid for both of those cameras. And I'll just keep it at that. So for me, it's just financially, it doesn't make sense to pay for another camera that two cameras that I already have serve every need that I have, except for the Pixis 12K, because that serves a certain need that I specifically want, obviously, and that's why I'm willing to spend on that. But outside of that, I don't really. There isn't a camera that has. There's amazing tech and amazing stuff in these cameras, but each one of them has something that makes me still hold back and say, you know what, I'm happy and I'm good with what I got right now. I'm good with what I have, and I can go on a few more years with what I have if I need to. So basically, for me, it's like, if you see the need, then sure, but be sure about it and make sure you have a plan to make sure you can get an ROI. Because especially for me, anything above 3,000, if you go to anything above $3,000, which is majority of what these cameras are outside of course, the Nikon ZR, most of these cameras are going to be in that plus $3,000. Anything above $3,000, I see that as I need to see a return of investment. Otherwise, I might as well. Otherwise, I could get something far less cheaper and be satisfied with that. So, or I could get an older camera for roughly the same price that has either more professional features, sometimes a better sensor than some of this newer stuff. It may lack some things like autofocus and some stabilization or some stuff, but a lot of these older cameras that are hitting the market that are like getting like $3,000 and under. I mean, these are cameras that a lot of Hollywood movies and a lot of like TV shows and series built their name on. So, to me, while technology has been proven, there's no need to rush, and that's my perspective. So let's see what's So let's go and check out. Let's see here. Kadeem, hey, what's up, man? We live. Yes, we live, man. We yes, live or live. I guess we live. Yes. Jess, yeah, Sony's tripping on the price, but if he's doing quick turnaround reels, social ads, Sony and Canon make more sense. Black Magic seems more ideal for narrative work. Yes, 100% agree. Yeah, and that was the thing that both me and my colleague, my friend, talked about was that, you know, we love the image. That's the main thing that is really holding for me. Well, for me, there's multiple reasons for the cinema camera. The other reason is the open gate, because I want to start investing in anamorphic lenses, and sort of, because now that I got my base set of lenses, I like to now explore anamorphic lenses. And the open gate does help in some ways with social media, but not. I don't think its effects is as much as like YouTube and a lot of content creators have blown it to be. To me, the main thing with open gate is like the anamorphic options and just wanting to play with different aspect resolutions and getting the maximize of the lenses that you invest in, because that's the more important thing. But I totally with you. Yeah, Blackmagics are definitely designed for more narrative work. But I'm interested to see how the media cards handle in 4K in terms of the Pixis 12K, because that could be a lot more managed a managed camera. But we'll see. But yes, overall, just totally with you. I despise calling cameras from 2020 old and outdated unless 8-bit. 100% agree with you, man. Totally with you, Kadeem. Yeah, there's like, honestly, even cameras from 2015. Yes, technically they're 10 years old. They're out. You consider them outdated. But have you ever? I'm like, pick up a Sony F55. Pick up a C500 Mark II, because you can get those for cheap. The image quality is still fantastic. Shoot, pick up an Ursa Mini Pro G2, because you can get those for cheap. The Ursa Mini Pro G2 has an amazing sensor that even to this day, cleans the clock of a lot of the modern cameras. So yeah, like, and all these cameras came out like way before 2020, and they still have amazing quality on them. So yeah, it doesn't really matter how old the camera is, as long as it can shoot 10-bit 422 or a flavor of RAW, you can get a great image. So what is the workflow that lets you? So it's the So what? It's the workflow that lets you get the job done. Yes, and that is the Derek. Derek put the cherry on top and basically surmised everything that I've been trying to say. Like, if it has 10-bit if the camera has 10-bit 422. Now, there is a couple things that could vary. Depending on the look you're trying to get, the sensor size could obviously affect that. Now, obviously, you could have lenses that could compensate it, but then you still run into some physical limitations with it. Whether if it's the image gets stretched too much, if you're trying to go too wide, whether if it's the size of the lenses, whether if it's how much the aperture you can open to get sort of that full frame equivalence. But that's outside of sensor size. If you got 10-bit 422, like, yeah, that's really all you need, which is also why I get frustrated a lot of times with Lumix, because it's like, I want to, like, the open gate, it's like everything is there, but why is your, like, all your cool recording options only 420 10-bit? Like, I know some people are going to mark it's like there isn't that much difference, or yes, if all you're doing is just doing a quick transformation and you're not doing too much, like, no serious grading, sure, you can get by with 420 10-bit. And if that's you, hey, more power to you. Just me personally, I am a colorist. I like to push. I love to push the image and really test the image. And there's only so much I can push a 420 10-bit image because I have a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. There's only so much I can push a 420 10-bit image compared to a 10-bit, even a heavily compressed 10-bit 422 image. There's only so much I can push the image before it really starts to break down. So again, if you got 10-bit 422 and you got RAW, or either or, like, you're good. Like, we're always worried about these newer cameras. I'm like, there's some, go on eBay and start searching for some of these older cameras, because there's some gold mines of cameras out there. Let's see here. Get a camera that fits your workflow, no matter if it's old or new. If it works 100%, then you can jump it. Totally agree. But you need it right now. Yeah, that's the feeling that you get. Yeah, that's that feeling. I need it now. I need that new-ish. I need that new shit. I get it. And trust me, I get that feeling too. Whenever something new is on, it looks hot, it's sexy, it's like, ooh, it's got a great body, it's got it's got all the right features that you were looking for. It's hitting all the marks that you want to pop the question. I totally get it. Sometimes you gotta say, wait a minute. I got something already nice at home. I already got something nice with me that I got some history with. You know what? Is it that much better? You never know. She still ripping and running with an Eva 1. Ooh, yeah. That was I will say the Eva 1 was an interesting camera when it came out. It just sucks that Panasonic kind of just closed that whole division down and has not done anything to, like, improve. But like I said, the Eva 1, great camera. Has all the features it is. Totally agree, Jury. Why does it bother people so much that others enjoy using Open Gate? It ends up sounding like hating on a feature that could be there when you need it. Just like, I think a lot of it has to do with, like, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But Jury, if I had to take a guess, it's a lot to do with the fact that maybe they're working with a camera system that doesn't have it, and now they're hearing it from different places. Maybe they're hearing it from the producers. Like, does your camera have Open Gate? By the way, we need to be clear. Again, I always want to try to clear. Open Gate does not mean, we get to shoot 3x2 or we get to shoot 4x3. That's not what Open Gate means. Open Gate means just simply you get to utilize the entire sensors. Every single Red camera that's ever been made, except maybe the ZR, shoots Open Gate. Every single Blackmagic camera that has been made to date shoots Open Gate. Every single one of them. It's just they use the full up. I just kind of get them because people know. But if I had to take a guess, jury, it's just that people. This is the thing everyone talking about. They don't have their camera may not have it, or maybe they're getting pressure from producers or maybe some clients or something that maybe they're hearing about it, or directors that may be hearing about it. And it's like they're looking at it like this. What they had was never a problem before, and everybody's talking about it now. So who knows? For me, like I don't knock anybody that's. I don't get the hate for. I don't get the hate for a feature, but I do understand the annoyance of hype around a feature. That I do get. So, like for me, I'm gonna be honest. I know there's a lot of people that here that have cameras that have IBIS. Totally get it. Totally get it. And especially if you're a hybrid shooter and you do a lot of photographies, absolutely, I totally get it. And I've talked about this quite a bit. Me personally, I think IBIS is probably the most overrated feature of the modern cameras. But mainly because I have yet to see an IBIS system that has been so good that it actually does better than actual stabilized devices like tripods, gimbals, and S-tier Steadicam operators. So, I haven't yet come across an IBIS camera that can do better than that. And IBIS, in certain rig situations, is more problems than not. So, but the hype, everybody just is hype around. It's like, oh, IBIS is. If you love IBIS, great. I just also don't think a camera is like a complete failure, like the C50. Some people are gonna be like, hey, no IBIS, no EVF, not for me. More power to you. There's a whole bunch of cameras out there that have IBIS and EVF. Not EVF, EVF. There's a whole bunch of cameras out there that have IBIS and EVF. It's okay that there's maybe a few out here that don't have IBIS or EVF because it fits a certain type of shooter that wants that. So I definitely say yes, hating on a feature is best, but I can also get annoyed when a feature is overhyped or people dog on a camera because it doesn't have a certain feature. If that makes any sense. I know I'm rambling, but let's see. If you get into the commercial space and need a green screen or alter color specifically for brands, then you need 422. Yep, totally agree. Like, last year we did a national ad for the Community College of Philadelphia, and we worked with a green screen. We shot these on the Ursa Mini Pro 12Ks because they had the resolution that we need, and they had 12-bit and RAW, so it was perfect. It was a perfect set of cameras to do the project, so it made sense. I would not shoot a green screen project with open gate Lumix cameras because it creates more problems with it. So, yep, Derek is totally right here. You should do an S-tier list of all the goldmine cameras online. You know what? All right, you know what? I'm game. Let's do that. If you guys want to hear about the S-tier of goldmine cameras online, let me know. Hit the likes, but also throw it in chat. Let me know, and we'll make it happen. Good. That's a good suggestion, Kadeem. Yes, yes. That's a great point. Great way of saying it. Yes, totally agree, man. It's tough to do an old camera S tier because media is kind of difficult to get fast. CFast 2 is so expensive still. Red Mini Mag finally has third-party alternatives, so DMC2 now is a variable S tier. Great, good comments. Yeah, totally agree. But I think this is a way to sort of break up the tiers, I guess, of which are ones that would be the easiest transition in terms of old gear. So Again, it may be something I might take a look at, but totally a good point to make nonetheless, Derek. S by S for S50 for F55 and F5 is kind of iffy. Okay. V-Raptor XE is now shipping. So yes, I saw the news on that. So if you guys, for those of you guys that were who ordered those red V-Raptor XEs, they are starting to ship. So if that was one of yours, definitely happy for you guys. Hopefully you guys go out and make some great content with that. Well, I'm older and holding a camera for stills. The IBIS really helps me. But the gimbal systems, the IBIS cause more problems than it solves. And this is a great comment by Giovanni. Because yeah, like I said, I totally I totally get why for photography, IBIS is like S tier in terms of features. Totally get it. That's why I said if you are a hybrid shooter, I get you. If you are a photography primarily shooter, I get you. And more power to you. I only can speak for myself and for myself, I am a pure video shooter. I barely touch stills, if any at all. So for me, it's a little bit less IBIS is a little bit less valuable to me. But again, if your guys are like in Giovanni's category, I totally get it. Of course, if the manufacturers would make an IBIS that can be turned off and locked down, that would be the best of both worlds. Look, technology is constantly improved, so never know some days in the future. Okay, Kings. Oh, getting the ZR. All right, man. I'll be looking out for the. I'll be looking out. I'll look out for your content. Can't wait to see it, man. All right, I think this is a good time to go into some of the news that kind of came out. So Lumix, Lumix gang, this is for you guys. There was an announcement today. Now there wasn't any major cameras. There was a camera announcement, but it was a different version of different body version of the S9. So Lumix has announced a few new things, but the main things in terms of cameras is that they've now announced a titanium gold limited version of the Lumix S9, which is going to be very, very interesting. For all you, if anybody here is a Lumix shooter or has shot with the S9, I would love to know what you feel about this body design. I think it's so the fact that it's titanium. Does this mean it's going to be a bit heavier than the previous ones? I'm really curious. I will say, from the design, I freaks it. I really freaks this. I like this. This is a cool design. I'm not gonna knock it. This is a dope design. It's a limited version, so it looks like it's gonna cost a little bit more. So it looks like the titanium with the kit lens is going to be $1,900 or $1,899.99, which again, obviously the S9's a few years old, but I know for a lot of people they still vouch for it and seen it. I've seen some people make some great content with it. But I would love to know what you guys is this new body variants of the S9 appealing to you? I would love to know what you guys. But I think for me, some of the most interesting things that was announced was the apps, the updates to the apps that Lumix is having for one. There's going to be some updates to Lumix Lab, and they're offering a new. There's a new version or a new feature in Lumix Labs, which is I think Magic LUT. That's the main thing. Where basically If you have if you take stills, you grab a still, you upload it, and you select it. The magic LUT will basically automatically build a LUT for your look based off that image that you uploaded. So it uh, it sounds really cool, and I think people that maybe not necessarily are like professional color graders and just wants to get something done, I think this is going to be cool for them. Me, as someone who is color grades professionally, and I, in terms of that, it sounds too much to me like the auto color correcting in DaVinci Resolve, and anything auto, I'm always iffy on. Again, I'm not going to completely knock it just yet because I got to try it. But also, Lumix is based. The cool thing, I think the really cool thing is that Lumix is open. This is for anybody. So basically, this is going to be the Magic LUT support is based. It's going to be JPEG, HEIF, and MP4. So this doesn't. So it's not going to just work with Lumix cameras. This is going to work with smartphone cameras and other brand cameras as well. So Lumix is kind of like opening their Lumix lab app to other manufacturers. Which, if you want to just start building LUTs on there, I think that's really, really cool. So I think that's actually cool, and kudos to Lumix for like pushing that. So Lumix is always pushing things forward, so really cool that. There's also going to be a new thing called Lumix Flow, which is a new app. And essentially, this is, from what I can gather, this is essentially Lumix's version of Monitor Plus Control or Monitor Plus Camera, whatever that app that Sony has. This is essentially that's essentially what this is going to be. So it's going to have new features enhancement for all capability models, but basically it's going to mirroring feature improvements and support for multiple devices. So up to 4 devices can be connected simultaneously. Again, very similar to Monitor Plus Camera or whatever the Sony app is called. Very similar to that because that was one of the beauties about that app. You could basically have multiple cameras linked in it simultaneously, and you can basically do a multi-cam view. So that's great. You'll get vertical UI support for external monitors. It'll improve cut addition features, allowing a blank shot to be added as a sub-shot of a selected take or at the very end of a storyboard. So essentially is that I guess you can take shots or things that you may have with these cameras, and you can sort of build out a storyboard that then you can basically line up when you're ready to shoot and sort of help. Curious to see how that works, because that seems really, really, really a really cool feature. Because to me, anything that can help you be better at prepping, I think that's going to be a great feature. But I gotta see, because I still think apps like Artlist, if you utilize their new AI tools that they have and their artboard, I think Artlist and it's not Frame Grab. It's what is it called? What is that? What is it called? Is it Frames? I forgot what it's called, but it's throwing me off. I'll come back to it. Actually, let me see right here real quick. I know I have it somewhere. Shot Deck. That's what it is. Shot Deck. To me, Shot Deck and Artlist in terms of pre-production, and then something like Milano. These are still some of the best pre-production apps, but I'm really curious. So I'm really still curious to see how this will work in terms of that. So these features are going to be coming to the S5 II, the S5 IIX, and the GH7. But I guess later, I'm assuming sometime next year, they're going to come for the S12, the S12E, and the S1R2. So we'll see. And they're also going to get support for LUT view assists. So they'll have LUT live view. They'll have support for multiple frame marker displays, yada, yada, yada. So, and then there's one more. There's a version 3.4 for the S52X. So you're going to get, that's where it's going to get the support for Lumix Flow. It's going the startup time. So anybody that may have complained of the startup time for the S52X, that's going to be improved. There's going to now be Bluetooth connection for the DJI RS4 Pro, RS4, and the RS4 Mini. So if you have any of those gimbals, you will be able to Bluetooth connect, and I assume you'll be able to control your camera with your S5 II with that, which would be dope. And then there's they're going to give you the customizable ring, which for those of you that may not be familiar with Lumix, so Lumix has the ability to where you can take the focus ring and you can decide if it will go clockwise or counterclockwise, because some people may be coming from like Nikon, which has, I think, the counterclockwise, and then something like Canon, I believe, has the clockwise in terms of how their focus works. But overall, again, these are all may not seem like if it was just one of these things, they may not seem like a big deal, but I would say just these little things, and again, Lumix always try to push to try to give something to creators, and even creators that are not even part of their brand. I think that's a really, really dope thing. Really dope. So, let's go back to the comments. I heard the ZR is shipping. That true? I have not heard. So, it's possible, but I haven't heard anything about that. Lumix playing, knowing the only thing consumers want is the S1H2. Yeah, I know a lot of people are still waiting, and I don't know if Trevor's here. I know Trevor, he's been waiting patiently, so hopefully they will, but we'll see. Sounds like Panasonic has been bitten by the Leica bug. Well, yeah, if you play, they do play with each other a lot, so they may have contracted some of that bug. The S9 looks cute for family vacations. Yeah, like I said, it's I ain't gonna lie, it looks dope. It kind of has, it's not fully retro, but it's excuse me, it's not fully retro, but it's kind of it feels. It feels a little bit retro. It feels 70s. Maybe it's just the Star Wars fan to me, but it does feel like 70s. The camera looks kind of 70s to me. Maybe I'm just imagining things, but let me know. The S9 is fantastic. The video out of the camera is simply amazing, and it's great tiny companion to larger S bodies. Man, all right, great to hear that, Jerry. So they're also great cash cams. Okay, all right. May have to keep that in mind. But I totally get it because they're small, they're compact, you can fit them easily in carpool, so totally understand that. I trust LUTs from people who know. Resolve and creates one from scratch. Yeah. So for me, I just build every single one of my LUTs, which, by the way, if you guys, I built LUTs for the GH6, I built LUTs for the R5, I built LUTs for the FX3, the cinema camera 6K. They're all on my digital store. So if you see any that sort of interests you or pique your interest, definitely check out my digital store and take a look at them. Also the C200 and the C70, I built LUTs for them as well. So hey, check them out. But yeah, I build every single one of my LUTs. I build them completely from scratch, and find ways to put them together. Fishing reels, hey, what's up, man? Just got the Pixis 12K in the UK. Nice. Yeah, it looks. Yeah, it seems like a lot of the European people got the Pixis. But I do know I saw one creator a few days back in Philly, also in Philly as well. He just got his Pixis 12K. So a few there are. I actually heard from Black Magic they're still working their way through their back orders, so that's why I still haven't got my loader yet. So basically waiting for the back orders filled, and then I've been told, and so fingers crossed, but I've been told that I might be getting a loader to try out for a brief period of time. So the Lumix takes into account different sensors and their spectral response. Um, that I don't know. I'll be honest with you, Giovanni. I don't know. I'll be honest. Was that an ATEM mini next to you? So this is actually not an ATEM mini. So this I do have an ATEM mini, but it's not in shot. This is actually the speed editor that when I use post. So like my computer is like right over here, and I use so basically what I have to I do editing. I have my speed editor here, and then you may be looking at this thing underneath, which is the micro panel. Which is this guy, which is the micro panel. Absolutely love this guy. This really has made my color grading experience much more enjoyable. Even though I always enjoyed color grading, but the experience of color grading with a color panel is night and day. But yeah, it's the speed. What you're seeing is the speed editor. I do have an ATEM mini, and it is being used right now, but it's not in frame. So but to answer your second question, how do I use mine? So right now I have the ATEM mini basically used as a way to send a webcam signal from my FX3 to the computer, and then I use eCam mainly because unfortunately I wish Blackmagic would build a switcher that can allow you to pull up comments like what I could do right now. Because I would ditch eCam and just use this, but they haven't built that. They haven't built that yet. So I use eCam, and I get both the sound and the visuals off the ATEM. And sometimes if I have a videos on here, I'll use the multicam for that. But mainly it's to deliver my cameras as a webcam to the computer. So when I use eCam, it's basically I'm operating multicams that way. Oh, great! Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm actually using the 400 right now. It's like right. It's actually like right over here, right next to me, and I'm using the GVM. Like I'm still using that whole thing, the GVM tube air tube light. I've actually haven't taken it down since last week, and it was only I think yesterday that I had to fill the tube up yet again. But it's been in the same spot since the last stream. So in terms of like of the tube holding the air, it does a great job. So really happy with that. So but thank you, man. Thank you by that. All those products, I'm sure you have like 6 license keys for DaVinci Resolve. Actually, I don't. I really don't. Because the microcolor panel did not come with DaVinci Resolve. Now, I don't know if that means it doesn't come with DaVinci Resolve. I just know because that was given to me by Blackmagic, so that I didn't get Resolve for that. The ATEM Mini doesn't come with DaVinci Resolve. It just comes on its own. The only one that I got DaVinci Resolve for was the speed editor. But I actually gave that, I basically gave it, because I didn't use it, I basically gave that key to my cousin, because he does a lot of cool things. I was like, you should make a YouTube channel. So, and I was just like, here, take this, and I gave him the Resolve Studio key. So I gave that away. So I really only have the key that I got from the Cinema Camera 6K when I bought that. All right, so let's talk about the last bit of the last bit of news to cover, and that involves Apple. So Apple is actually I think this was like a day, maybe a day or so ago, but they announced the MacBook Pro M5 and iPad Pro M5 computers, and you know, I'll I'll try to keep this simple. Basically, they're saying this is the most powerful MacBook ever. This is the best performing single core CPU Apple that's ever existed. Yada yada yada. All that is true. I will say this: if you're like me, well, let's actually just before I do that, let's get to read the article. This is shout outs to City D. This article is by City D, but Apple's M5 lands in a refreshed 14-inch MacBook Pro and the latest iPad Pro, promising up to 3.5 times faster AI performance than the M4. Keep in mind, they're saying the M4. They're not mentioning the M4 Pro or the M4 Max. They're specifically comparing it to the M4, the baseline chip. Higher GPU throughput. So yeah, basically, they got next gen 10-core GPUs and neural accelerator. So I'll say this: the two best things about these new MacBook Pros and iPad Pros is that the SSDs. So they actually have Gen 4. Now they have the Gen 4 SSDs on these. So it's with that, I believe they are like double the speed of speed transfers. The Gen 4 SSDs, they're like double the speed transfers. So I think that's the biggest improvement of these new Apple devices, and with the M4 chip, you could go to a max of 4 terabytes of SSD storage, which is great. Which I think you could only max out to 2 with the M4, with the base M4 chips. So that's good. That's good. You still gotta pay for the upgrade. You're still paying quite a bit to go to 4 terabytes of SSD storage, but they are faster. So that's a cool thing. The other thing is the neural acceleration, which is that now they're basically neural acceleration. It's like their AI. Basically, their AI chips. Their AI chips basically have them in every single every single core, and basically in every single core on these devices has an AI chip. Which, if you work this, you'll see this mostly in Resolve. If you use Resolve, especially if you use neural acceleration, you will see a bump there. But the only place I would really see that is maybe in something like super scaling, or something like depth map. Something like, I'm talking serious performing AI acceleration tools that Resolve has. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, it's cool. But I was watching a video and I saw that, again, yes, if you compare it to the base model, like Apple, like all the people that made these, all the content creators that came out, yes, if you just compare it to the M4, yes, it seems somewhat impressive. But one, it's only slightly better. It's like 15-20% better. But when you start comparing it to something like the M4 Pro or the M4 Max, like I have with my MacBook Pro, the M4 Max, especially when you do multi-core, especially when you talk about the multi-core performance, they still smoke the M5 chips. So for me, for me, I basically, it's like, it's a really slight thing. Maybe if you've been long since holding on to the M1 chips for a while, sure, I guess you could say you could upgrade them. But for me, um, I think I think if you are on some of the more recent chips, especially if you got like an M4 Pro or M4 Max, you're good. You're good for a couple generations. So don't stress it. So, uh, can you walk us through your average workflow in terms of data management? Do you edit from an external SSD? Which NAS system do you have? Do you also have your back? Do you also back up your NAS? Okay, so yeah, this is a great question. So, um, the basically here how I do it is I'll use my Cinema Camera 6K because that's the most data heavy. So essentially, what I do is I dump the files onto an SSD drive. I never, if y'all been here long enough, you already know I don't shoot directly to SSDs. I'm staunchly against shooting directly to SSDs. I'm going to continue to be staunch to it because once again, even this year, I've seen it fail, and it sucks when it does. So I don't shoot to SSDs, so I shoot to CF Express cards. I dump the CF Express cards onto an SSD card, and then I have an HDD drive that I dump on as a backup. I don't have a NAS system. NAS systems would be nice, but I don't have a NAS system. So in terms of NAS systems, I don't have that. But I basically, again, I dump onto the SSD drive that I'm going to work on, and then I back it up to an HDD drive for just long-term archivals. So, and basically that's basically how I work in terms of my data management workflow. So hopefully, man, that was able to answer your question. Besides being a bit pricey for me, the Storm 400X have been out of stock, so I'm considering the Storm 80. But the difference in color rendering that you showed with the 400 was amazing. So, um, I don't I don't think you will see a different that big of a difference between the Storm in terms of color rendering between the Storm 80 and the 400X. You will see a significant difference in terms of light output. Um, so, but yeah, in terms if anything of the latest Stormlines, so any late current generation Stormline from Aperture, whether it's the 80C, the 400X, the 1000C, the 1200X, so on and so forth, any of those lights, they're color render wise, they're going to be essentially the same. It's when you start comparing it to a lot more of the more affordable, like the Molas B500 or the GVM, all great lights, and they're great lights in their own various regards. It's just color rendering. There's very few lights that, especially chip on board lights. There's very few that can compete with what Aperture is doing. There's definitely some RGB ACL, but it's because of that indigo, the indigo chip that's in here that really boosts, creates that cool color rendering. But yeah, I knew the 400X was going to be out of stock for a while. That's why as soon as it was like, this is one of the ones where I was like, as soon as it was announced, I'm like, no, I'm pre-ordering. Because I know this is going. I knew that was going to be like one of the most popular lights that was going to be out for a while. Because, and so far from my experience with it, I've been proven correct that I think this light is going to be like the go-to key light for so many smaller budget, smaller team projects, because the quality is just noticeable and it has the output that you need. Can you let us know if you experience any banding issues when you get your 12K? I think it may have been a user error in post. Curious to know from someone who actually knows how to edit. Sure. Absolutely, Jess. I'll absolutely let you know whenever I get it. Again, like the 400X, the Pixis 12K is like really hard to get, but hopefully I'll get one soon. But I'll definitely keep an eye out for you. How long? Ooh, an hour and 22 minutes. So we've done a good run. Um, I think I'll spend a few more minutes sit in chat. I'll sit down and chat with you guys and answer any questions that you guys have. Um, and then after that, I think I'm just going to wrap it up and let you guys go because I know it's 9 o'clock here, and I know some of you guys are over in Europe, and I thank you guys because I know it's like mid. No, it's like no, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. So thank you guys for staying with me. I really appreciate that. Do you think the Pixis 12K will see a famous Black Magic price drop? I don't know. Black Magic's is the one company that if you'd ask me to predict the future of what they will do, I will say I don't know. Because they look, whether you love it or you hate it, they keep it close to the chest. And I'm talking about I'm talking about the engineers because I've had a few conversations like they keep it really really close to the chest, and I'll just say that. So if you would ask me, hey, is they going to get a price drop? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It may not. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. If it does, look, for those of you that might did, great. But I've learned to stop predicting what Blackmagic will do a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, look, I think a lot. I hope you're right because that would be great for everybody. But I know some people would be mad that they paid the tariff price and then the price drops again. But hey, I think they're good. I think there's going to be Chris. I would say keep an eye during closer to times where there's clearances. So I would say summer, winter times. But given the fact, I don't expect it anytime soon because, like I said, they're still back ordered and everything. So I don't expect it to travel soon. But look, usually during like springtime when there's like people have to close out their finances and everything. So that may be a time. But again, Blackmagic is the one that I don't try to predict what they're going to do. 2 a.m. Yeah, I knew it was like 2 a.m. for you guys. So again, thank you again for supporting. Maybe go back to the original price in the form of a sale. Yeah, look, there may be a flash. I don't think I'll say this. I do not think we'll see a drastic price drop like the Ursa City 12K, and it's like a permanent price drop. I think you'll see something sort of on the lines of the Cinema Camera 6K, where for a brief period of time there was like a flat and like the original Pocket Cinema Camera, where there was a flash sale for like 40-50% off, and it's like you better get it during this time, and the price goes up, and that's what happened because that's when I got my Cinema Camera 6K was during that flash sale. And I know quite a few of you guys got it during that flash sale because you guys went through my affiliate links, which I do appreciate. I do appreciate that. So that when the Cinema Camera 6K dropped to $1,600, like yeah, I hopped on that quick. So who knows? Hopefully that will. So maybe when my loader is done, the price will drop, and then I can get it during the flash sale. So I would love that. The first blockbuster that is filmed with the Pixis 12K, then they'll be rare, then hen's teeth. Oh yeah. I'm just I am waiting for this. I am waiting for the CVP video that will be dedicated to the Pixis 12K and how it was used on this major on this major Hollywood set, major blockbuster set, because that's what happened with the FX3 when the Creator came out. Also with the Ronin 4D when Civil War, when it was revealed that it was one of the primary cameras for Civil War. So I I would keep an eye out for CVP if they make a special video around the Pixels 12K. Then when you know the camera's made it. Latest update to Apple to DaVinci Resolve includes improvements for Apple displays by fixing gamma shifts on export Rex. So basically, yes. Actually, yes. I actually noticed that today. Earlier this morning because I got a chance to try it out. I was actually in a recertification class for Resolve traders. So I had Resolve open up, and yeah, they finally fixed the display. I'm so happy by that. I'm still going to have a secondary monitor, but the fact that the displays are right, and now you can just export, I think you can export as Rec 796. So, okay. Can you explain what is this all about? All right. So I kind of explained it, but let me try to explain it a little bit more. And apologies, but it's cold out here, and I think my nose is running a little bit. So I think I'm definitely going to end it. But I'll answer the question. So, for those of you that have DaVinci Resolve, and if you've noticed, there's a various forms of Rec 709. There's Rec 709, there's Rec 709A, and there's Rec 709 Scene. The reason for that was because everybody, there was a certain point years back that everybody followed the standard of Rec 709 displays, except Apple. So because Apple decided, America, I'm going to do my own thing. Basically, Blackmagic had to design a whole different gamma curve for Mac displays. So that was why Rec 709A was created. It was created so when you exported, you wouldn't be freaked out like, why is something wrong? And that's when eventually they also started with Rec 709 Seed, because those were the same. Basically, they're the same thing. They basically fixed this issue of not properly mapping Apple display gammas. But because of this, so basically with this feature, I haven't tested this out yet, but in theory, with this feature, you now can basically just use Rec 709 Gamma 2.2 if you're delivering for like something like YouTube, or you can use Rec 709 Gamma 2.4 if you're delivering for broadcast, and it doesn't matter if you're on a PC or a Mac anymore. Essentially, that is the reason for that. Have you tried the new Vespid 2 Cinema Primes? They seem to be a great match for the 12. I have not. They look cool. Maybe I'll take a look at them. Which I guess this is a good time to announce. Actually, let me make sure I put your question up. So, have I tried the Vespid 2s? I have not. I may try them out next Wednesday. I guess this would be a great time to announce that I will be at NAB New York next week, specifically next Wednesday. And I'm actually going to sit down with Blackmagic, someone from a rep from Blackmagic Design. I'm going to sit down with them, and I'm going to we're going to have a little interview. So I have an interview scheduled for Blackmagic Design, but I'm also going to explore the floor. I'm almost certain DZO is going to be there. So I'll probably check out the Vespid 2s. I'll take a look at them when I go to NAB New York next week. So I'll check them out. Right now I'm super happy with the Vespid 1s. They are great looking lenses, but I'm curious to see if there really is a significant difference that I could just see ahead of time compared to the Vespid 1s. But I think we're going to call this a wrap and sort of. Mm, that's not good. I'm going to call this a wrap, and I am going to end the stream. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'm going for all you guys that are in Europe. Thank you guys. I am going for staying up so late with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Make sure before you guys head out, just hit the like. Just make sure YouTube is going to notice. So when this stream ends and it comes reforms, they'll not be afraid to push it. But thank you guys again. I'll see you guys next week. And as always, until next time, take care, everybody.